So, hello and welcome to Intuitive Connection. I'm your host, intuitive counselor, and spiritual guide, Victoria Shaw. And today we have a guest that I am so excited to get to know. She was connected. We were connected through a mutual friend who I absolutely adore. And everyone that Sage has introduced me to has been just like an absolute love fest. So I know, Suzanne, that this is going to feel like that too. And let me just introduce you. Suzanne Raja is the founder of Spa for Her Soul, a virtual sanctuary of mentorship where women of influence are embraced, empowered, encouraged to step into their peak radiance, a state of unapologetic, vibrant self expression and self love. Ooh, I love that. We have a topic now. She is also the co founder of Warrior Sage, a multi-million dollar transformational leadership academy she built alongside her husband, Suzanne Raja. Did I get that even close?
You got it way close.
Yay.
Exact.
Exact. All right. I'm going to rub that in. All right. I love that. Impacting tens of thousands of lives worldwide. Over 30 years, Suzanne has been a trusted private coach to CEOs of multinational corporations, celebrated stage performers, high profile public speakers, leading physicians, and elite business leaders. Um, Recognized as one of the foremost leaders and pioneers of the women's transformational movement, Suzanne draws from therapeutic, shamanic, embodied movement practices to create lasting transformation in the lives of the women she serves. Suzanne, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Victoria.
I'm I'm excited. All right. So what I know about this woman is that she knows a friend of mine who I just adore, who said you have to have this lady on your podcast, and so I just said yes. Um, so this is going to be a beautiful journey of discovery. But I'd love to start with you sharing your story. Like, how did you get to be the lady that does all this super cool and impactful stuff?
Hmm. I was thrown into it really. I just wanted to be all my life. I just wanted to be a mom. I wanted to be a wife, and I wanted to be a homemaker that made the home. And I was really happy to do that. And I was going along with that with my babies and my home and my husband, and it was wonderful. And then one day my husband came to me and said, "Listen, I need someone to come on stage with me and speak about love and passion." And I was like, "Yeah, but I'm just what do you mean by that?" And he says, "I need you and it's time." And he just like he's done for the most of our life, which I bless him. And I've also been, oh my God, he pulled me on to the stage, and I I began to teach. And then I began to counsel and coach and mentor women and men in power couples and individuals and all of that, and the rest is history.
Beautiful. And it's funny because as you present, you have this very gentle voice and this very gentle energy. But when we tuned in at the beginning of the session, before we go live, some of my listeners know I say a little prayer, I set the energy. Your energy is fire. I mean, you are such a powerhouse. So it's just
You.
like I can't picture you not like rolling up your sleeves and diving in, but that's amazing. So your husband pulls you up on stage and says, okay, I need your help with this, and
I
then what happened? You just were like, oh my god, this is my destiny.
Well, here's the thing. For a long time, I could not see what he saw. I could not see what others who learned from me saw. So for many, many years, I would go on stage and I would say the words. I would speak in ways that would serve so many, yet inside of me, I did not feel that I was worthy of being on stage. I did not feel like I had value at my deepest core. And something was just not in alignment because what I was perceiving on the outside, it was certainly not what I was feeling on the inside. And I wondered inside of me how many women, particularly, feel that. How many women experience people, but particularly women, because I am that, experience that sense of unworthiness, lack of value, and how that shows up, and how that did show up in the way that I taught at the time, the way that I served at the time was less than what it is now, let's just say. And also in my relationship, because I had that feeling of a lack of self-worth, it showed up in all kinds of ways in my relationship that at the time I thought this is this is horrible. But as everything is in life, it's an opportunity for an up-leveling.
Right. How did it play out for you? Like how did that show? Where did that impact your life? I mean, I think a lot
I'll
of
tell.
people have those feelings of like not
Mhm.
enoughness. I would venture that all of us have it to some degree.
So professionally, with students, with clients, I kept a distance. So I would serve deeply. I would hear them say that they're serving, that I'm serving them, and I would to the best of my ability. But after I get off of the stage, for instance, I just don't want to see anybody. I didn't want to make contact because inside of me, deep inside, I felt, oh, I'm not, this is I'm not worthy of the adulation that I'm getting. I'm not
Wow.
worthy of even standing in front of them. So there was that sense of separation. And I yearned to be connected deeper, but I held myself back. And and it's not that way today, but that was one of the things that I experienced. And also in my relationship. In my relationship, I didn't feel as valuable as my husband thought I was. And so I also pulled myself back away from him, not giving him all of me, holding myself back and just kind of going inside and closing over myself and hiding from the world, hiding from the world, which wasn't
Right.
serving me certainly, and it wasn't serving my relationship.
Yeah. And I think that, there's so many different ways to be called to serve, and there's so many ways to be a teacher and a leader and a guide. And I think that there are a lot of people out there that, channel or share. I mean, I don't know exactly how you work, but share, beautiful, beautiful guidance. But I think it's extra special. At least that's what I always aspire to when you're living your light while you're sharing it with everybody else, right? Right. And
Yes.
you're owning that. I mean, I just think that that energy is just so powerful when we honor ourselves first and foremost and then share from that place.
It is intellectually so true.
Right.
And I knew that at that time, but I had no idea how to harness this value that I knew that I have to have some value. I'm giving it.
Right.
Intellectually, I knew, but I didn't have role models around me that I could look to that I felt were truly valuing themselves, that were authentically
Right.
real. And it's not necessarily that they weren't real because I say this all the time, it's a mirror world. And so when one looks out and sees and says, well, they're not being real, it's not the other that they're looking at, it's reflection back to
Can be.
themselves. So I wasn't being real at the time, and so I couldn't find realness anywhere. I had to source that within. I had to come back to myself. I had to come back to the true me, to me. And that is where I began my journey.
All right. How did you do that? What were the steps? So you were feeling that lack. You were feeling you knew something was wrong. You knew you weren't showing up the way that you wanted to. You knew that your relationships were not the way that you wanted to, right? So that was your call to action. What
Mm-hmm.
what did you do? How did you get to that place of worth and self-love and authenticity?
There were several occasions. I can't say one occasion, but there were several occasions that helped to carve, I'll say, take away and carve away what wasn't true so that I could come into what actually is true for me. One of the things was that I broke down. I just went into a puddle one day, and my husband had said something to me, why aren't you doing this? And I just took it as it was just a mounting and a mounting and a mounting of self-loathing. And so one little thing that he said, I just took it as huge. And I went to my room and I just started packing everything in garbage bags. I'm like, what am I doing? I started packing it all. Well, I'm not worth it. Then I guess nothing is worth it. So I started packing it away. And interestingly enough, I had these bags of clothing and things that I thought, well, this can't, I'm just packing it away. And I put it in my car to take it to what's called here Value Village. So it's where secondhand clothing, that sort
Okay.
of thing. But interestingly enough, it's called Value Village. And I was about to drop off my things, what I thought were no longer of value because I didn't feel a value to this place, and give everything away. And something touched me on the shoulder and said, this is not it. This is not it. But I had to let go of all the things that I thought I was so that I could start to come back to truly who I am. And so that was a monumentous moment where I actually didn't give away the things. I brought them all back, but it was like the hand of the Great One touching me, saying, no, that's not it, but you're getting close.
Aw,
And it had been a process through there, and here I am.
beautiful. And so now I imagine you help others do the same to find their
I
value and worth and authenticity.
I absolutely do. And what I recognized was it's about an embrace. It's about feeling completely so held that from that holding, the truth can come forth. And I feel that today, the real reason why we have so much problems in the world is because there's a lack of contact, and we have left the embrace. The embrace has felt like we have been let go. And it starts with us coming back to that. And so what I offer in my work is truly a virtual embrace where women are felt like they are held. They are held and allowed to just be themselves, allowed to show themselves, express themselves fully and completely, and get to the realness of who they are.
Yeah, I think it's so important. And I think so many of us probably wouldn't even know how to find that, right? I remember years ago having a mom friend, and she said something to me that kind of blew my mind. She said to me, well, Victoria, I can tell you this. I can tell you this because like I know you don't judge.
Ah,
And I was like, yeah, of course. Like because that's just how I am, right?
mm,
Um, but what I realized is that she was living in a world where most of the people in her world, she was afraid to tell them anything. She was afraid to say, I'm struggling because my daughter is, hitting other kids at preschool, it happens. Or I'm struggling because, I didn't have a great day with my husband, or right. Because I'm afraid to share that with most people because I'm supposed to put on a good face and I'm supposed to pretend everything's okay. And I'm supposed to sweep the things that, are not resonant with who I want to be under the rug. And I didn't really live my life that way. That wasn't
mm,
my particular struggle. Um, and it was shocking to me. It was shocking to me. I was like, of course I wouldn't judge. Why would I judge that? My kids are hitting kids sometimes too. Right. But I feel like a lot of people do live in that realm where they don't feel safe and supported just being who they are, blemishes and all. And sometimes not even blemishes. Sometimes we also don't want to celebrate. One thing I've had to learn to do is celebrate my successes, right? And feel like I can be excited and celebrate who I am fully and completely. It's not egotistical, it's loving myself, which is the best kind of love there is.
Yeah. Victoria, what you share is so potent, and and it demonstrates what I speak about a lot, and that is if you can celebrate yourself, if you can really love yourself and accept yourself, then as it is a mirror world, as I say, anything, anyone that you are in contact with, you're just going to do the same with them. But when you're not loving yourself, when you're not accepting yourself, and a lot of people are in that place of forgetting truly who they are, then what happens is that is reflected outwards. And so that's where the criticism, the judgment, the shame, the blame, the jealousy, all the different things, that's where they arise from.
Right.
And it's not a bad thing to feel those things. Those are feelings. Those feelings are indicators that there is an opportunity for us to come back to ourselves, love and accept ourselves, and
Yeah.
celebrate, as you say,
Yeah.
ourselves.
It's
Hmm.
beautiful. Years ago, I grew up in a family where my mother was very critical of everyone, all the
Hmm.
time. So I grew up with this ticker tape of jealousy and comparison in my brain because that's just, what was playing through most of my childhood, right? And I would be very uncomfortable if I would feel jealousy towards
Hmm.
someone because, I had that experience growing up, right? But it's a normal human feeling.
Hmm.
And, two things that my guides said to me that were so helpful around when those feelings came up. Number one, they said, if you were like worship something in somebody else, if you want something in someone else and feel a lack within you, know it's yours already. No, it's yours. It's just a longing. It's just showing you, ooh,
Hmm.
they have something that, I'd like to have more of that myself. And because we all have everything within us, it's there, it's ready to be realized. But the other thing that they said, which speaks to where you're coming from, is they said, love the part of you that's hurting right now,
Yeah.
right? Because that jealousy, that feeling of lack, that feeling of not enoughness, right? It's okay. It's okay, sweetie. Don't judge it. Just give it a big hug. Love it, and
Yes.
and then it will heal.
Yes. Yes. It will transform. It will
Yeah.
integrate
Yeah.
inside of you because it's a part of you. You see? And so, yes, absolutely. Loving on yourself and loving whatever that is, whether it's
Right.
jealousy, that J word. Oh, I'm not supposed to feel
Yeah.
that. It's there. Do you know? It's there because it's telling you you're not showing up for yourself on some level.
Right.
It's just giving you that gift. It's saying, hey, you got to love on you some more. Offer more acceptance and love to you. And then when you do that, naturally, you'll
Right.
start to live the way that you're here to live.
Absolutely. And so often we're taught that those negative feelings, or, I worked with a lot of kids for many years, right? And the look on parents' faces when I would inform them after having informed their children, mad is not bad. It's not bad to be angry. There's nothing, and the parents would be like, "What do you mean?" Like, they're yelling at me and they're breaking. I was like, "Okay, those things aren't so good, right? Those behaviors, we could work on those. We could, use some self-control and learn how to, manage our anger effectively. But the feeling of anger, that's not bad. That's a gift. It's
Mhm.
telling you, like, I don't like what's going on. A boundary's been crossed. Something's uncomfortable with me, right? Sometimes it's a jump up to if you're feeling very ashamed or very hurt. Anger can be like, or depressed. Like anger can be a relief from that. It's a step up the ladder of our emotions, right? But so many people have learned, it's not okay to feel this way. It's always okay to feel how you feel. Now, if you're jealous of someone, that doesn't mean that you break into their home and steal all their stuff,
Exactly.
right? But that feeling it's
Mhm.
telling you somewhere where you're hurting, somewhere where you're feeling like you're not enough, or maybe it's telling you, okay, this is what I want, and I'm going to go and manifest this and create this. And there's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with the feeling, we just have to understand how to work with them.
Absolutely. Yes. So true.
Beautiful. All right, I want to switch gears just a tiny bit, but we're already kind of there. I want to talk about that term authenticity,
Yeah.
because I see a lot in the personal development world. People use that term, and it's almost like you see people trying to be authentic. And it
Mm.
always hurts my heart a little bit when people are trying to be authentic or trying to figure out their authentic self, because, of course, And that's the opposite, right? When we're authentic, we just allow ourselves to be exactly as we are. And we
Mhm.
honor that. Anyway, maybe I answered my own question, but I want to ask you, what does authenticity mean to you and how do you help people get there?
So, authenticity is truly coming in touch with getting a sense of who you are at your core. And what that means is sitting with yourself, putting your hand on your heart, feeling your heartbeat, coming into resonance with your heart, which is a part of you. And then I say this to women, particularly moving your body. When you move your body in rhythm with your heartbeat, in rhythm with your breath, you're not any longer in your head because your head doesn't have rhythm. Start to move your body and get in touch with yourself this way as you move. Ask yourself, why am I here? What is the reason? What's my purpose for being here? Your answers will come like intuition. The answers are so loud if you listen. It's like
Right.
right there at the tip of your tongue. Listen and allow it up. And as you do that, start to listen some more, start to listen some more, and align what you do with why you're here.
I love that. That's a beautiful
Align
practice.
that. Absolutely. And it's also, what is it that you naturally love to do? What did you love to do as a child? What are the things that you may think, oh, that's frivolous, that's not? Follow those things. Follow those breadcrumbs. Go there because those are clues to who you are and what you're here to experience in this life. We're not here to struggle. We're here to enjoy life. And so when you're living from the place of the truth of who you are and the your natural excitement and you're aligned with that, then that is when you're being authentic. And when you're being authentic, I've heard someone say that that is your true genius. Just being exactly who you are is your genius, is your offering, is your gift, is your way to abundance, joy, pleasure,
Yeah.
love.
Amen. Amen. My guides have always shown me that we're here to express our true selves, right? We're here to be the little vessel, that human perspective, and then shine all our light exactly as we are, as the unique snowflakes that we are here into the world, right? And that the more you can be yourself and express yourself is the more you uplift humanity. We often think, I got to go out and volunteer and I got to donate money and I got to be a teacher or helper or healer, and I'm all for those things if you feel called to do those things. I like what I do. I have a pretty servicey kind of role in the world, but you don't need to do any of that. Whether you're an artist, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you are fixing the roads, whatever you're doing, when you are showing up and being who you really are, that is the greatest gift that you can give to humanity.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love this. I love this. All right. I got two more warring questions coming in, so I'm going to kind of tune in. I think the question that I want to kind of loop
Yeah.
back to, you
Mhm.
talked about that feeling of unworthiness, and you also talked about joy and how
Mhm.
we're here to have fun. It's not supposed to be a struggle. It doesn't have to be a struggle. It's supposed to be a joy. And that is, I'm a little new to the party on that one for sure, but that is something I have learned to embrace more recently in my life. And my life is just, it rocks, right? But what do you say to that person? There's a lot of, and we've covered this topic on the show a lot. There's a lot of ways in which we get it, a lot of conditioning we have that says, it's not okay to just relax and have fun. But the one,
Mm.
but the one I want to start with is this feeling like, I'm not worthy of self-love. I'm not worthy of joy. Like where do you go when someone's there, when somebody can't take that in, when somebody says that's okay for everyone else, but it's not okay for me?
I say, I give them permission to love and accept themselves first, put their hand on their heart, give that, even just say those words. I love and accept you just as you are, your personality and the way that you are. And now we're going to also love that part of you that does not feel worthy of that. So we're going to love the unworthiness. Let's love the unworthiness. Bring it close to us. The tendency is to push feelings like that away and push them down, hide, suppress, and bury them. It only gets bigger and louder and stronger and shows up in aberrations in ways that we don't wish. Instead, they're here. These feelings are here because they want your attention. So what I say is let's draw it close, draw it close. And as you're doing that, I am right here with you. I am here to embrace you in this. And as I say the word embrace, let me just say this. I had a grandmother. Both grandmothers were fabulous, but this one particularly, she was she was just quiet. She didn't say much, but I worked out so much when I would go and visit with her, just sitting with her, just having her sit quietly with me and knowing that she was embracing me with her love. Every answer would come. And there's nothing that she had to do because our answers are inside of us. Her being there. And if she had the skill at the time, she would have guided me. But her guidance was her presence.
Right.
And so I guide and I'm present with my clients and I embrace them virtually so that they can embrace the feeling of unworthiness and recognize the gift in that. And it's different for everyone, but when they find it, it's it's emancipation from their mental slavery. Bob
Yeah.
Marley, PM.
I love it. It's beautiful. I mean, I think the biggest piece, and I'm trained as a counselor among many other things that I have in my wheelhouse. And one of my idols in the field of psychotherapy is Carl Rogers,
Mm.
right? And that's what Carl Rogers really teaches. He, I guess, back in the what was he, like the 40s or 50s, you couldn't say unconditional love, so he called it unconditional positive regard. But that's what he was about, right? About holding that space without judgment, holding that space where, and we can do this in a professional capacity, but we can also do this with everybody, your Uber driver, with your employees, with your child, with your spouse, with somebody that you pass on the street, right? When we can hold people with that unconditional love and just say, I see you, I love you, I accept you, I believe in you,
Yes,
and sometimes you don't even have to say it. You just have to
exactly. I
be
was
there,
just
right?
going to
You
say
had
that.
that with her. I think it's the most profoundly transformative thing that you can do.
I've heard it said that people don't need help, they need love.
Yeah.
And if there's love that underlies everything, then help is on its way. It's right there.
Yeah.
So it starts with the heart
Yeah.
connected.
And I think too that when we hold the space for others to find that, sometimes they take their time, right? You can't make somebody else feel worthy or lovable. So those of you out there who are thinking that we're giving you a recipe for that, I, at least, Suzanne, you may have a different impression, but I will tell you, you can't really, that's not in your wheelhouse, that's not in your purview. But what you can do is hold that for other people, like hold that within yourself with respect to others, because eventually they'll come around, right? And
Mm,
that's the catalyst, that can help other people find their own worthiness and their own self-love when you are holding that within yourself and also allowing others to be as they are.
yes. So I'll say it like this. To the extent that you love and accept yourself, there really isn't anyone out there that's not loving and accepting you
Yeah.
at all. It's an illusion to think anyone's against you. No one is. It's
Yeah.
all for you. Every experience, every human, everything that you go through in this life, we are here to grow and we're here to blossom. And we're here to experience love and freedom. And so everything is an opportunity for us to grow and to have all of that. So we're already winning.
Yes. 1,000%, 1,000%. And when you start recognizing that, then you feel it even more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. So I am mindful of time. So we're getting into the winding down section of our conversation, unfortunately. And I ask everybody on the show, because this is a podcast about intuition, and intuition ties into all of the things that we've been talking about so beautifully. But I ask everybody on the show, how do you experience your intuition?
That's an interesting question. How do I experience my intuition? I experience my intuition as the voice that I hear first thing in the morning if I get up extra early, and I hear all the things that are what my body desires, that is life fulfilling. It comes especially early in the morning for me, when no one else is up, when the veils of consciousness are not have not arisen as yet, meaning no one's up. I hear it even more strongly first thing in the morning. And then whenever I tune in, I hear my intuition tells me just what to do. It's just a matter of tuning into that station that's always playing. Oh, so it's about remembering that and giving that time. When I remember and I look for it and I tune in, I'll surely get there.
It's
And
always
I do.
there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Beautifulness. All right, my friend. I'm going to see if anything else, any other questions pop into my head. But I think mostly what I love, I think what listeners would love is to know a little bit more about you, what you do, how to work with you, and how to find you. I talked a little bit about at the beginning as I was reading your bio about some of your offerings. But can you share a little bit about the programs that you have and how you support folks and how they can find you?
Yeah. Yeah, so I help women, individuals and power couples live their best life professionally, personally. And one of the ways that I do that is what I call it's a virtual sanctuary called Spa for the Soul. And if you want to find out more about that, you go online and find us at warriorsage.com. I think you'll put that in the program notes somewhere.
I
W R
most
R IORSAGE.com. And when you come and find us there, what we'll do is see if you want to have a discovery session. And in that discovery session, we'll find out what it is you want. What do you want to have in your life that'll make it your best life? And what's in the way of that? And then we'll share with you what we've got going on. And if it's a mutual fit, then we'll guide you on the next steps.
beautifulness. I love it. This has been such a fun conversation. I think there's going to be a lot of wisdom nuggets in it for listeners for sure.
Mm.
Is, is there anything else that's coming through that you want to share before we wrap her up?
Hmm. It has been so delightful to speak with you, Victoria, because everything that I'm sharing here, it seems like you are just alive with it. And I hope that the everyone that's listening can get that really it's not so much what you have to do at all to have a life of joy and fulfillment and happiness. It's about just investing time in yourself and being with yourself and loving on yourself and accepting whatever it is that shows up, even if that never happened for you when you were a child or someone has said something to you that was just unconscious, you can give that to yourself now
Yeah.
and go ahead and take it. It's yours for the taking. It's yours for the experiencing.
That's absolutely beautifulness. And we didn't talk about this too, but I agree wholeheartedly, friends, that sometimes we didn't get that. Oftentimes we didn't get that because we were raised by human beings that were, being human. But it doesn't have to be that way. We can learn to give ourselves what we didn't get as children, and we can learn, new strategies and new ways to understand ourselves and our lives, and then pay that forward. So,
Be
yeah.
the change you want to see in your world.
1,000%, 1,000%, and then some. Oh, Suzanne, this was so much fun. I am so grateful that we got connected. I know that my listeners are going to love, 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 love this one too. Remember, you can find all the information about Suzanne in the show notes. And you can find her website, all that goodness there. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review on on iTunes, on iTops, on iTunes or your podcast platform of choice. Like, subscribe, do all the stuff, share with your friends. And just remember, I love you all so much. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. And namaste.